Vav, Vav, Yom Yom. Okay, the effect of each particular mitzvah act, yeah, is called forth by doing those other mitzvah acts, which are makif. So in this structure, he's saying a particular mitzvah, you give a pruta, for instance, that's a particular mitzvah, act of Pesach. But there's that, we learned, right, makif, panimi, and makif. There's a aura. There are certain mitzvahs which are general mitzvahs, which are all-encompassing mitzvahs, and which we call makif, general and all-encompassing in nature. The mitzvah of tzedakah, for example, is one of those all-encompassing makif mitzvahs, as evident from the reference to the fact that tzedakah, that all the mitzvahs, we've learned this in the first part of Tanya, that all the mitzvahs are called tzedakah, because all the mitzvahs are connecting Hashem with you and you with Hashem. That's the notion of mitzvah, savta v'chibur. And the general one, which is the general connection, is the act of tzedakah, having to do with something else. And then the particular ways of dealing with something else are the particular mitzvahs. For this reason, it is most appropriate to give a coin to tzedakah before performing any particular mitzvah. This has the effect of bringing the makif into panim, the general, the all-encompassing, into the individual. Or as he says, as the effect of bringing the general, the makif aura, into the panimius, the inner aspect, the particular mitzvah. Nonetheless, this type of makif is a close makif. It's called makif hakorev, makif which is, and we get into a concept which I'll mention, but needs a lot of elaboration, the elaboration of which is most clearly elaborated upon in most detail in Hemshech Ayin Beis, which is makifim within makifim, circles within circles, all-encompassing layers and layers of makif. And the root makif, in this structure of Torah mitzvahs, is the Torah. The Torah is the embodiment, right, in a very general way, of how to connect to Hashem. And then, for more particular ways, some of them also makif, reach down and down and down. An analogy to the makif within makif. So if you take just think about yourself. All of your organs are being encompassed by your skin. The skin is a makif hakorev. It's a close, all-encompassing thing to your limbs. And then if you look around, you're in a room. And the room is also a makif. But it's a makif to the previously particular makif. And the room is in a city, and the city is in a state, and the state. So there are levels and levels of makif as well, all-encompassing. And Torah is the root of the makif, all the makifim. Okay. Makif u'panimi. That's really our topic as we get our wind down here today of Sharif Yamuna. One of the overarching points of the whole book, of the whole section, is that the makif, the makif, the greatest makif, the makif, which is the makif hagoda, which is the first thought that God has of anything, and even expressed in Ayin Beis, the will he has, the decision that he makes to bring things into being, that makif hagoda, that great makif, which is the root of everything, is infused in every single panimi. The makif is infused in the panimi. And we will now reach our conclusion of Sharif Yamuna, starting lessons in Tanya on page 990, bottom of page 990. And in Kuti Amorim, yes, Kuti Amorim, page 178 from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines up. Okay. So we were talking about the histalshelus of letters, right? The oisius, the letters themselves are rooted in the close to, at least you could say, in the essence of Hashem. and they give rise to very particular formulations. And those particular formulations are pictogrammed, are pictorialized, visualized by the shape of the letters in Isis Merubis, the holy letters that we have. They're diagrams of that flow from above to below. Yud, just the dot, the Hey, the expansion. It's the classic one, right, explaining the shape of the letters in the Yud K Vav K. So these, what derives from the original source of the letters, Ki hein derech moshel dugmas or hamer belayla eretz min hayereach. So a derivative, meaning comes from, it's derived from actuality. Its source is the higher level. The derivative is the lower level. And he's now giving us and winding up with an analogy. The light which shines at night on the earth, min hayereach, from the moon, the ha'or hayereach, and the light from the moon, ume hashemesh, comes from the sun. So sunlight is a derivative of, moonlight is a derivative of sunlight. Really clear? Question mark? Yeah. Benimsa, so it comes out, when it comes to what we're seeing down here on the earth at night, is a or ha'or shel Hashem. It's a light from the light of the sun, a derivative of light. And the nimshal here is all the hashkos, all the creative energies, no matter how minuscule, no matter how they may get embodied in a more minuscule and particular thing, they're all getting and infused within them the power and the life force and the creative energies of the source. Just like moonlight is getting everything that it has, and it's a derivative of the light of the sun. The Koch HaMamish, in the same way, Derek Marshall, ha'oisius sheba memores, the letters of the 10 utterances, in klalos hamshachos, their general drawings down of chayas, of life force, the ha'or, the ha'koyach, the midosav shel HaKodesh Baruch Hu, livrei, and the light and the power of the midos of the Holy One, blessed be He. And again, that their midos of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu is that they are drawing down that level of Kodesh or Muvba. And all drawing down the Or Makif within them, because it's the Or Makif which gives a general ability for everything to be in a state of existence and to have life force within it. But there are derivatives and different qualities of existence and distinct qualities of life force, which is called the Or Panimi. So the Or and the Koyach Midos of Shel HaKodesh Baruch Hu, the power that has Livrei to create Olam, is to create worlds, Na'ayin L'yesh, from nothing to something. That's the power of the Ein Sof. And that's the power of the Or Makif, which is Ein Sof. It has no beginning and it has no end. And that is what constitutes the very existence and the being in the state of aliveness of any particular thing, though it's transformed from, it goes through changes. Chilufi oisius, right? Remember the transformation, recombination of letters until you get particular things which are enclosed by that Or Makif. And that Or Makif is responsible for the fact that the thing is coming from nothing into something. And that Or Makif is the Hachayosin, gives it life, L'kaimin, and causes it to be in existence. Kolzman Meshach Ritzoni is bought it as long as Hashem wants it to be in existence. This is the top of Pei Sadik, and from this generality of light and drawing down of a Ora Gedola, this is analogous to the original Kav, the original Simpson, right? That allness contracted itself into a point, and from that point emerged what's called the Kav and the Hut, the ray and the string, in which everything, from which every particularity evolves and comes into being, but all of it contains Hashem Echad, the essence of Hashem, always permeating through everything. And that always in quality and everywhere quality is the klalalis, as we said, the generality of the drawing down of the Ha'or Gadola, of the great light, the great beam of light, Hazu, Hashem, which Hashem irradiates, the Himship, in which He causes to be drawn down, Memena, from the singular source, Toldoiseha, offspring, Kayotseba, which are similar to it, the Anfeha and branches, Shehain Toilas Haham Shakas Ha'or Mehaoisis, which are offspring of the original light from the letters, analogous to moonlight being an offspring of sunlight. And this process by which so-called offspring, that he, as he calls them, toilbas, offspring, are created, is through the various transformations and combinations of the letters, the combinations of letters and the substitution of letters. And he creates, through that process of substitution and transformation of the original energies, specific creations, in each and every one. And similarly, similarly does God illuminate. In addition, the himshif, the ha'ora, and this ha'ora, this illumination, evolves into illumination of an illumination, and an illumination of an illumination of an illumination, etc. And we say it, one after another, each lesser, but each containing the Ein Sof as well, from the Or HaOisis, from the original radiation of the letters. And then he draws them down even further. And he brings them down, what? The ha'oras of the ha'oras, the rays of the rays, which all have the source in, back to the analogy, in the original sun. And therefore, everything that's living down here below, and this will just translate this into simple common terms, everything down here gets its life from the sun. If it weren't for the sun, there would be no life on this planet. But it's not sunlight as sun is in the sun, it's sunlight as it's gone through aura, the aura, rays and rays and rays, and then becomes useful to particular things and doesn't remain in that general state where there are no particular things. It comes down lamata mata, the bechinas istalshos, in what we call the chain of descent, until it creates even inanimate things. But they're things. And the fact that they're things is the fact that they were nivra, they were created me'ayin, from nothing, from the all-encompassing, to be a substantial thing, even so insignificant in a certain way as a piece of dirt and a stone, like stones that offer, like stones and dirt. The Shemay Sayhem and their names, and this is talking about, I think we were learning yesterday or maybe the day before, the names that they're called in the holy tongue, for instance, Evan Va'ofer, these letters, which constitute the spelling and the indication through letters of what they are, they're not just indications, which is the case with conventional languages. The letters are actually drawing pictograms of the life force which is within that thing. Evan Va'ofer is stone and dirt. And chilufin, because the instantiation of the stone or the piece of dirt is through the infinite combinations, transformations, substitutions that the godly energy has gone through in order to bring these things from nothing to something. The chilufehim, of the transformations of transformations, the tamuris, and exchanges of exchanges, and now, as we have said above. So that's the end of conclusion of Shah Yichud Remin. That no matter how particular, how detailed, how infinitely numerous the creation is, every particle of that is drenched in Hashem Echad. Any questions or useful comment?
I hope it's useful. All the stuff
What?
Think all the stuff, all the things we see, we have to remember it's not just their names, but the names or the letters or whatever you want to call it, those forms that hold the or. It's the forms that hold the light of Hashem. It's
Yes.
just representations of Hashem's koyach, Hashem's ruth.
Correct. Rosa, you're up.
Good morning. I hope I'm not muted. No, I'm okay. Hi, good morning.
We hear you.
I just want to, I don't know if there's anything that we could apply to today from this, but the fact about the moon is that when the moon faces the sun, it's bigger. And when the moon turns away from the sun, it gets smaller.
Yeah. All right.
So,
not sure of the.
so I'm just so I'm just wondering if when we look at mountains or sky, kind of there's more elokus if we connect
Yes. You are breaking up.
we face toward Hashem, so to speak,
Rosa, I have to interrupt you only because
than if we just pass it by.
you're breaking up a lot.
That's
We
just
can't really hear you, Rosa. Can't really hear you. You're breaking up. I mean, the first point, I mean, we got the closer, the more illumination, the farther, the less. And the point in regard to what we're learning here is no matter how close or far, as the kiddie song goes, I remember from my kids, no matter how far you roam, you're never far from home. No matter how far you roam, you're never far from home. Because even though Hashem's appearance may be more minuscule there, it is still the infinite God within everything. Okay, thank you. And I useful. I don't know about anybody else. I find that useful when I step out the door to feel that way as I walk usually on my way to 770. I have a different perspective for a few moments on the cobblestones, the sidewalk, the trees. It helps me. Hopefully it helps everyone. Okay, with that, we're going to end this session, which ends Shari B'Emuna. And tomorrow, Amir Hashem, will start the Geras HaTshuva. See you then.